What if the stones beneath your feet could speak? What if, tonight, in the hush of your own resting place, you could hear the quiet voices of towers long abandoned, walls that once stood proud above green valleys, fortresses that did not merely guard, but shaped the very lands around them? And what if those stones, weathered and worn, could carry you gently into sleep? Not with loud tales of war and conquest, but with whispers of patient watchfulness, with the slow rhythm of time itself, flowing across centuries like water along a stream. Before we begin our wandering, let us pause for just a breath. If you wish, you may softly like this story, subscribe for more of these quiet journeys, or leave a gentle comment, perhaps telling us where you are listening from tonight. Every voice is part of this shared circle of calm, from bedrooms lit by the faint glow of lamps, to quiet corners where headphones carry these words into the stillness of night. And now, let us prepare the body and the mind. Feel the weight of your head resting where it lies, the soft support beneath you, the way the air moves slowly in and out of your lungs. Notice your breath as a gentle tide, arriving, retreating, arriving again. No effort is needed. You are carried. You are safe. Allow your shoulders to ease down, as if they were heavy curtains settling into place. Let your arms grow soft, your hands uncurl. Release the gentle grip you may still be holding in your jaw, in your brow. Feel the tension melting away like mist under morning sunlight, slowly vanishing, without force, without struggle. And with every exhale, imagine the ground beneath you receiving your burdens. The soil, the stone, the earth itself cradling you, asking nothing in return. Now, imagine a path that carries you into the wide and quiet countryside of long ago. It is evening. The sun has begun its descent, and the sky glows with a gentle blend of gold and violet. The air holds a soft coolness, brushing against your face, carrying the scent of moss and damp leaves, the faint sweetness of wildflowers tucked into meadows nearby. Beneath your feet the earth feels steady, a little uneven, but kind, guiding you forward. And in the distance, rising against the fading light, you see the silhouette of a castle. At first, it is only a shape, a shadow upon the horizon, but with every step, its presence grows. The castle does not rush to meet you. It stands patiently, as though it has always been there, waiting. Its towers reach toward the sky, firm and still. Its walls curve with quiet strength. You notice how it seems rooted to the land, not separate from it, but grown out of it, as if the earth itself had lifted stones to form this guardian. As you breathe, you may feel a kinship with that stone, strong, unhurried, calm. Your heartbeat finds its rhythm. Your thoughts begin to slow, like leaves drifting upon a river. The closer you come, the more details unfold. You can see the stonework, some rough, some smoothed by careful hands. The faint outline of battlements, rising and falling like the teeth of the horizon. A gate, closed yet welcoming, as though to say, "Enter when you are ready." There is no hurry here. Perhaps, if you listen closely, you hear the faint echoes of a world once alive within these walls. The laughter of children tumbling across a courtyard. The clatter of pots in a busy kitchen. The low murmur of voices speaking in the great hall, warmed by firelight. Horses shifting in their stalls. Dogs dozing at the feet of their masters. And above it all, The wind. The eternal wind that brushes against the towers, sighing through narrow arrow slits, carrying the smell of wood smoke, of grain, of damp stone after a summer rain. This castle, like so many across the world, is more than just a fortress. It is a heart, a center, a presence that shapes the fields, the farms, the rivers around it. Its watchful eye extends not just over walls, but across the entire land, binding people together in subtle, invisible ways. As you breathe, let yourself feel that sense of watchfulness. A calm, steady awareness, not threatening, not demanding, simply present. Like the moon that rises above all lands, casting its light without question, the castle too is a quiet sentinel. Pause now, and imagine yourself standing before its gate. The great wooden doors are bound with iron. They are closed, but not locked to you. You place your hand upon the cool surface. You feel the grooves of age, the ridges of grain. The door seems to hum faintly with memory. Behind it lie stories waiting to be told, waiting to be unwrapped gently, piece by piece, as night carries you further into rest. For tonight, you need not push the doors open all at once. You need only stand here, at the threshold, feeling the quiet presence of centuries. And with each breath, imagine yourself sinking deeper into calm, deeper into stillness, deeper into a story that unfolds slowly, like parchment unrolling, like the seasons turning across fields of wheat and barley, like the stones themselves eroding ever so gently under the hand of time. The castles are waiting, and they will reveal themselves one by one as we wander together. But for now, allow the first vision to rest in your mind, a silhouette upon the horizon, firm, timeless, steady. And as your eyes grow heavier, your body softer, your thoughts slower, let this image carry you into the gentle beginning of our journey, into a story not only of walls and towers, but of how they shaped the very land itself. The story has only begun, and it will unfold, quietly, patiently, with every breath. Imagine, for a moment, that we are standing at the edge of the 11th century. The world of early medieval Europe stretching before us. Fields and forests roll outward, interrupted only by winding rivers and clusters of small wooden homes. The air feels simpler, slower, and yet beneath the surface, great changes are stirring. The Roman Empire has faded, its once mighty roads and aqueducts now lying broken in many places, swallowed by ivy and soil. In its absence, power has scattered, splintered into many hands. Lords and knights claim lands piece by piece, and with them comes the need for protection, the need for strongholds, the need for something that will rise above the fields and declare, "Here I watch. Here I rule. Here you are safe." And so, the dawn of castles begins. At first, they are not the towering stone citadels we imagine today, but humbler creations. Simple wooden structures, set upon raised mounds of earth. The Motte and Bailey Castle, one of the earliest forms. The motte, a mound, often artificial, heaped high by human hands, crowned with a wooden keep. The Bailey, a lower courtyard, enclosed by a palisade, where animals grazed, where smoke curled from hearths, where villagers and workers sought shelter in times of danger. Imagine the sound of wooden stakes being driven into soil, the rhythmic thud of hammers as men set palisades upright, one beside the other, until a wall of timber encircled the bailey. Imagine the crunch of gravel as carts carried stones, earth, timber, families and laborious, shaping the land itself into defense. Not swift, not easy, but steady, patient, as the mound rose higher each day. From the top of the motte, the Lord could stand and gaze outward. His vision carried over forests, over rivers, over farms. He could see who approached, friend or foe, traveler or merchant. And those below, in turn, could look upward and see him, his presence undeniable, his power rooted in the very earth. The placement of each castle was never random. A hilltop offered strength. A bend in a river meant control of trade. A borderland meant security. Imagine riding through a valley in those days, the grass brushing your knees as your horse moved slowly forward. The land might seem endless, untamed, uncertain. But there, upon the rise, a keep of wood and earth greeted you, promising order, promising safety, promising also a reminder that this was not simply open land, it was land watched, guarded, claimed. At night, fires glowed within the bailey. Chickens rustled in coops, dogs barked at shadows, and smoke drifted upward from hearths where families huddled. The keep upon the motte cast its silhouette against the stars, a shape as steady as the moon. And those who lived nearby could sleep a little easier, knowing the castle was there, strong, enduring, protective. But the castle was never only a shield. It was also a symbol. The villagers toiling in the fields by day would glance toward the motte and remember who held power, who kept order, who demanded taxes in exchange for protection. The castle was both comfort and command. A reminder that the land was not wild, but woven into human hands. Slowly, one by one, these wooden strongholds rose across Europe. Some small and humble, little more than stout fences upon a hill. Others larger, with wide baileys that could shelter whole communities when danger approached. Yet all of them, whether simple or grand, carried the same truth: a castle anchored the land. Pause for a moment and imagine yourself within such a place. You walk through the wooden gate of a bailey. The earth is uneven beneath your feet, worn by hooves, boots, carts. To one side, a blacksmith hammers at iron, sparks glowing like fleeting stars in the dim light. Nearby, children chase each other, laughter carrying above the lowing of cattle. The air smells of hay, of smoke, of freshly tilled soil. You move closer to the motte, where a steep wooden staircase winds upward. Step by step, you climb, until the village below spreads out like a tapestry, fields of barley and wheat in neat squares, hedgerows forming gentle lines, distant forests a dark green sea. And above it all, the sky stretches vast and endless, brushed with drifting clouds. Here, in this high place, you sense the meaning of castles. Not only shelter, not only strength, but vision. From such heights, lords imagine the land as theirs to shape, to command, to watch over. The motte was not simply a mound of earth, it was perspective. A way of seeing both people and landscape at once. And as the centuries passed, wood gave way to stone. Slowly, the castles we picture today would emerge, towers of grey limestone, battlements etched against the horizon, walls thick enough to resist both fire and time. Yet here, at the dawn, they are simpler, softer. Rooted in wood and earth, they feel almost organic, as though they grew with the seasons, as though they might one day return to soil. Still, their presence reshaped everything around them. Roads curved to meet them. Villages gathered near them. Power radiated outward from their walls like ripples in a pond. And thus, the landscape of medieval Europe was transformed, not only by rivers and hills, but by towers and keeps. By human will etched into the land. As you breathe now, imagine those early castles fading into twilight. The fires within their baileys glow warmly, like lanterns in the dusk. Smoke rises lazily into the air. A dog curls upon a step, ears twitching at the night sounds of owls and crickets. Families settle, children tucked against straw bedding, their dreams carried upward toward the keep upon the hill. And you, too, may let yourself drift. The motte stands steady. The bailey is quiet. The world around you is softened by the embrace of walls and gates. You are safe. You are watched. You are at peace. The dawn of castles has come, and with it, the shaping of land, of people, of time. The wooden castles of the early centuries, fragile yet firm enough for their time, did not remain unchanged. Wood burns. Wood rots. Wood bends with the wind and yields to rain. Lords who sought to endure, who wished to carve their names not merely in memory but in matter, began to turn to stone. And so, slowly, quietly, across the valleys and hills of Europe, the age of stone castles began to rise. Imagine a village once sheltered beneath a timber motte and bailey. For years, its people have lived in the shadow of wooden walls, trusting them, yet always aware of their weakness. A fire could sweep through in an evening. A storm could split the beams. An enemy could batter them down with patience and determination. And then, one season, a new sound begins to echo across the valley. Not the thud of axes striking trees, but the sharper ring of iron striking rock. Day after day, the people hear it. Stone quarried from nearby cliffs, from riverbeds, from hidden seams in the earth itself. Block after block, lifted and carried, dragged across rough ground by oxen, by men with calloused hands. The wooden keep is slowly dismantled, and in its place, a new shape begins to grow. At first, only a tower, a great square structure, the stone keep, rising stark against the sky. Its walls are thick, sometimes 15 feet across, their weight pressing into the earth like roots of a mountain. Narrow windows, slits, really, pierce its sides, letting in only thin blades of light. A single doorway stands high above the ground, reached only by a ladder or a wooden stair that could be pulled away in times of danger. Inside, the air smells of damp mortar and new stone, cool even in summer heat. This was no longer just protection. It was a statement. Stone spoke a language wood could never master. Stone declared permanence. Stone declared power. Stone whispered to every passerby, "I will remain, long after you are gone." The villagers felt it. Where once their eyes saw walls that could crumble, now they saw something immovable. A presence that shaped not only their safety, but their sense of time itself. They began to measure their lives against it. Children were born beneath its shadow. Harvests were gathered. Winters endured. The keep stood unchanged, while people grew older, while generations shifted. And the lords themselves felt it too. Standing upon the ramparts of their new keeps, they knew they had claimed something more than land. they had claimed eternity. Their stone towers were not only defenses, they were monuments. Monuments to family lines, to titles, to the very idea of control. Imagine walking through such a castle in its earliest years. The outer walls are not yet complete. The curtain walls that will one day circle the keep may still be rising. But already, the air within feels different. Step inside the great hall. The stone arches above seem to hum with strength. Fires flicker in wide hearths, smoke curling toward rafters where banners hang. The echoes of voices carry farther here, bouncing against cold walls. Every footstep resounds, as if the castle itself were listening. It is not merely shelter, it is theatre. Every visitor who enters is reminded of who holds authority here. The sheer weight of the walls, the thickness of the doors, the hardness of the floors, all declare the same truth. This is not a temporary dwelling. This is command made solid. The presence of stone reshaped the land as much as it reshaped perception. Quarry sites scarred hillsides. Roads were cut and widened to drag great blocks. Villagers who once built in wood began to use more stone in their own homes, inspired, or compelled, by the Lord's example. The texture of the countryside changed, grain by grain, wall by wall. Even the seasons touched stone differently. Rain did not consume it. Wind did not shake it. Snow lay upon its roofs and melted away, harmless. Summer heat warmed its walls, but they remained cool within. To those who lived in fragile huts of wattle and thatch, the keep seemed almost otherworldly, untouched by the cycles that ruled their own lives. And yet, within the keep, life was not so distant. Fires still burned. Bread still baked. Children still laughed. Dogs still curled at doorways. The rhythm of living continued, only now framed by permanence. A permanence that could not easily be forgotten. Close your eyes for a moment, and picture such a castle in twilight. The last light of the sun gilds its stone in shades of amber and rose. Shadows gather in its corners, but the walls remain strong, square, immovable. Birds wheel above the towers. Smoke rises steadily from chimneys. A bell tolls softly from within the chapel, its sound rolling across fields where farmers finish their day's labor. All around, the land acknowledges the presence of stone. The castle does not move, but its weight presses outward, influencing lives, decisions, movements. And beneath its surface, the earth itself holds the memory of that weight. Each block cut from ancient cliffs, each fragment taken from the bones of the world. When we look at these castles today, we do not only see the work of masons and lords, we see the very earth rearranged into order, command, permanence. In this way, stone castles became more than defenses. They became anchors of power. Symbols etched not only into history, but into soil, into rock, into the minds of all who lived within their gaze. And as you breathe now, slowly, deeply, imagine yourself standing within such walls. Run your hand along cool stone. Feel the roughness, the grains, the scars of tools left behind by masons long forgotten. Feel the calm weight of centuries pressing through each block. You are safe here. The world outside may shift, storms may rage, but within these stones, you feel steady. Let your breath slow. Let your body sink. Know that, just as the villagers once slept peacefully beneath the gaze of stone towers, you too are watched over, protected, cradled by the permanence of history. Stone castles rise, and with them, authority takes form. The land itself bends to their presence. And the people, generation after generation, learn to live, to work, to dream in their shadow. The wooden castles of the early centuries, fragile yet firm enough for their time, did not remain unchanged. Wood burns. Wood rots. Wood bends with the wind and yields to rain. Lords who sought to endure, who wished to carve their names not merely in memory but in matter, began to turn to stone. And so, slowly, quietly, across the valleys and hills of Europe, the age of stone castles began to rise. Imagine a village once sheltered beneath a timber motte and bailey. For years, its people have lived in the shadow of wooden walls, trusting them, yet always aware of their weakness. A fire could sweep through in an evening. A storm could split the beams. An enemy could batter them down with patience and determination. And then, one season, a new sound begins to echo across the valley. Not the thud of axes striking trees, but the sharper ring of iron striking rock. Day after day, the people hear it. Stone quarried from nearby cliffs, from riverbeds, from hidden seams in the earth itself. Block after block, lifted and carried, dragged across rough ground by oxen, by men with calloused hands. The wooden keep is slowly dismantled, and in its place, a new shape begins to grow. At first, only a tower, a great square structure, the stone keep, rising stark against the sky. Its walls are thick, sometimes 15 feet across, their weight pressing into the earth like roots of a mountain. Narrow windows, slits, really, pierce its sides, letting in only thin blades of light. A single doorway stands high above the ground, reached only by a ladder or a wooden stair that could be pulled away in times of danger. Inside, the air smells of damp mortar and new stone, cool even in summer heat. This was no longer just protection. It was a statement. Stone spoke a language wood could never master. Stone declared permanence. Stone declared power. Stone whispered to every passerby, "I will remain, long after you are gone." The villagers felt it. Where once their eyes saw walls that could crumble, now they saw something immovable. A presence that shaped not only their safety, but their sense of time itself. They began to measure their lives against it. Children were born beneath its shadow. Harvests were gathered. Winters endured. The keep stood unchanged, while people grew older, while generations shifted. And the lords themselves felt it too. Standing upon the ramparts of their new keeps, they knew they had claimed something more than land, they had claimed eternity. Their stone towers were not only defenses, they were monuments. Monuments to family lines, to titles, to the very idea of control. Imagine walking through such a castle in its earliest years. The outer walls are not yet complete. The curtain walls that will one day circle the keep may still be rising. But already, the air within feels different. Step inside the great hall. The stone arches above seem to hum with strength. Fires flicker in wide hearths, smoke curling toward rafters where banners hang. The echoes of voices carry farther here, bouncing against cold walls. Every footstep resounds, as if the castle itself were listening. It is not merely shelter, it is theatre. Every visitor who enters is reminded of who holds authority here. The sheer weight of the walls, the thickness of the doors, the hardness of the floors, all declare the same truth: this is not a temporary dwelling. This is command made solid. The presence of stone reshaped the land as much as it reshaped perception. Quarry sites scarred hillsides. Roads were cut and widened to drag great blocks. Villagers who once built in wood began to use more stone in their own homes, inspired, or compelled, by the Lord's example. The texture of the countryside changed, grain by grain, wall by wall. Even the seasons touched stone differently. Rain did not consume it. Wind did not shake it. Snow lay upon its roofs and melted away, harmless. Summer heat warmed its walls, but they remained cool within. To those who lived in fragile huts of wattle and thatch, the keep seemed almost otherworldly, untouched by the cycles that ruled their own lives. And yet, within the keep, life was not so distant. Fires still burned. Bread still baked. Children still laughed. Dogs still curled at doorways. The rhythm of living continued, only now framed by permanence. A permanence that could not easily be forgotten. Close your eyes for a moment, and picture such a castle in twilight. The last light of the sun gilds its stone in shades of amber and rose. Shadows gather in its corners, but the walls remain strong, square, immovable. Birds wheel above the towers. Smoke rises steadily from chimneys. A bell tolls softly from within the chapel, its sound rolling across fields where farmers finish their day's labor. All around, the land acknowledges the presence of stone. The castle does not move, but its weight presses outward, influencing lives, decisions, movements. And beneath its surface, the earth itself holds the memory of that weight. Each block cut from ancient cliffs, each fragment taken from the bones of the world. When we look at these castles today, we do not only see the work of masons and lords, we see the very earth rearranged into order, command, permanence. In this way, stone castles became more than defenses. They became anchors of power. Symbols etched not only into history, but into soil, into rock, into the minds of all who lived within their gaze. And as you breathe now, slowly, deeply, imagine yourself standing within such walls. Run your hand along cool stone. Feel the roughness, the grains, the scars of tools left behind by masons long forgotten. Feel the calm weight of centuries pressing through each block. You are safe here. The world outside may shift, storms may rage, but within these stones, you feel steady. Let your breath slow. Let your body sink. Know that, just as the villagers once slept peacefully beneath the gaze of stone towers, you too are watched over, protected, cradled by the permanence of history. Stone castles rise, and with them, authority takes form. The land itself bends to their presence. And the people, generation after generation, learn to live, to work, to dream in their shadow. The castle, for all its life and warmth within, was also a guardian. Every stone, every timber, every curve of its walls was shaped with care, not only to house and protect, but to watch, to deter, to endure. Its defenses were not harsh intrusions, but part of its being, woven into its very bones like the ribs of a body, like the roots of an old oak. Imagine approaching such a fortress. From afar, its silhouette seems serene, almost timeless against the horizon. But as you draw nearer, details emerge, one by one, like layers of meaning unfolding. First, the moat, a wide band of water, circling the base of walls, shimmering in sun, rippling softly in wind. Sometimes it was dry, a ditch carved deep, filled with brambles or sharpened stakes. Sometimes it was wet, fed by diverted streams, its surface alive with reeds, frogs, the occasional heron standing still in twilight. To cross, you must find the bridge, often drawbridges of heavy timber, lowered only when welcome was certain. Imagine the creak of chains as the bridge descends, the slow echo of footsteps upon it, the hollow sound of wood above water. Crossing feels like leaving one world and entering another, from open earth into the embrace of stone. Beyond the moat, the curtain walls rise. High, unbroken, strong. At their base, the stone is thick and solid, set by masons who knew the weight of time. Higher, the walls are crowned with battlements, crenellations, alternating teeth of stone. Soldiers might walk there, their figures moving quietly against the sky. To those within, the walls offered safety. To those without, they offered warning. Step closer still, and you see the gatehouse. Tall, narrow, commanding. Its doors are iron-banded, reinforced to resist flame and force. Above, narrow slits watch you, openings through which defenders could look, could speak, could act if danger approached. Within, the gate passage might hold a portcullis, an iron grid, heavy, ready to drop in an instant, sealing the way. Imagine its clatter, its sharp descent, echoing in stone corridors. Safe for those inside. Impenetrable for those without. Look higher, and you will notice the arrow slits. Thin vertical openings carved into walls, wider within than without. To the eye, they seem like simple cuts in stone, but to the archer standing inside, they are windows of power. Through them, arrows could fly outward, swift and unseen, while the archer remained hidden, shielded by stone. Imagine peering through such a slit, the outside world narrowed into a ribbon of light, the horizon framed and focused, every detail clear and small. Then there are the towers. Rising round or square, placed at corners or along walls, each one a vantage point, each one a quiet sentinel. Within, spiral staircases curl upward, narrow and steep, forcing any climber to ascend slowly, carefully. From the top, the land spreads out in every direction. Fields, forests, rivers, all visible, all within sight. To stand there is to feel the sweep of authority, not with force, but with presence. You are above, you are steady, you are watchful. And yet, these defenses were not built for constant war. Most of their days were spent in silence. The moat rippled quietly beneath skies of shifting clouds. The battlements stood empty but for the wind. Arrow slits caught sunlight, painting beams across dark corridors. The towers rang not with alarms, but with bells calling to prayer, to meals, to ordinary hours. Defensive designs shaped daily life, even in their stillness. Children played upon walls, their laughter mingling with the cries of birds. Servants carried water across drawbridges, glancing down at their own reflections in the moat. Guards paced slowly along parapets, their steps rhythmic, their gazes calm, more watchful than wary. Pause now, and imagine walking these defenses yourself. Step onto the wall walk, feel the stones beneath your feet, warmed by the sun or chilled by the night air. Lean against the battlement, look outward. Beyond lies open land, stretching vast, dotted with cottages, farms, roads, the faint curl of smoke from villages. The world outside feels expansive, uncertain. But here, upon the wall, there is firmness. A sense of boundary, of safety. The genius of these designs lies not only in their strength, but in their quietness. They were deterrents, symbols of endurance. Most enemies never dared to approach, for the sight of walls, moats, towers was often enough. Power radiated outward, carried in stone, in water, in height. To live beneath such defenses was to feel held, not in chains, but in an embrace that promised shelter. As twilight settles, the castle's defenses take on new forms. The moat reflects stars, its surface silvered. The walls turn dark, shadows pooling in every crease. Torches glow upon towers, their flames flickering in night wind, small against the vast stone, but steady. The gate closes, the portcullis lowers, and silence deepens. Within, people rest. Without, the land lies quiet, aware of the presence above. Breathe now, slowly. Inhale, as though filling your lungs with the cool air drifting from battlements. Exhale, as though releasing into the earth all the weight you no longer wish to hold. Feel the firmness of stone beneath your imagination, the calm certainty of walls that do not waver. Just as castles stood strong for centuries, so too can you rest now, held by invisible walls of safety, calm, protection. For defensive designs were not only about war. They were about peace. About shaping a space where life could unfold within. About ensuring that fields could be plowed, that families could sleep, that bells could toll, that laughter could rise. Their strength created the space for gentleness. Their weight created the freedom for dreams. And so, as you close your eyes tonight, imagine yourself walking once more along those walls. Imagine the stars above, the earth below, the steady stone around you. You are safe. You are sheltered. You are, like the castle itself, watched over by designs of quiet endurance. Step with me beyond the stone walls. The drawbridge behind us rising slowly, the sound of chains fading into distance. And before us lies the land that fed the castle, the villages that breathed with it, the fields that stretched into horizon. Castles, though strong in their solitude, were never truly alone. They were bound to the lives of those who tilled the soil, who brought harvests to the gate, who lived in cottages where smoke rose gently from thatched roofs. Without the villages, the castle was an empty husk. With them, it became part of a living landscape. Imagine approaching one of these villages at dawn. Mist clings low to the earth, veiling furrows of plowed fields, softening the sound of roosters crowing. The cottages are simple, built of timber, clay, or wattle and daub. Their roofs thatched, their doors small, their windows mere openings shuttered with wood. From inside, the smell of porridge drifts outward, and the soft crackle of fires begins the day. Villagers step into fields with tools worn smooth by years of use. Wooden plows pulled by oxen, sickles shining faintly as dew lifts from grass. Their labor is steady, slow, shaped by the seasons. Spring planting, summer tending, autumn harvest, winter mending. A rhythm as old as time, steady as a heartbeat. And always, on the horizon, the castle stands watchful. Its towers catching sunlight, its silhouette reminding them of authority, but also of shelter. The relationship was woven from need. The villagers brought food, wool, timber, labor. In return, they received protection. If raiders came, if soldiers marched, the villagers could flee to the castle, crossing its moat, crowding into courtyards, finding safety behind stone. The lord might demand taxes, service, obedience. But in exchange, the castle promised walls when the world grew uncertain. Walk now through the village lanes. Chickens scatter, dogs bark softly, children run with bare feet through dust. A blacksmith works at his forge, hammer striking anvil in steady rhythm, sparks falling like fireflies. A mill turns slowly beside the river, its wheel creaking, water splashing in endless cycle. Women spin wool upon wooden wheels, their fingers deft, their voices weaving songs into the air. Life here is not grand, not loud, but it is vital. On market days, the bond between castle and village grows closer. Stalls fill with baskets of apples, wheels of cheese, bolts of wool, jars of honey. The Lord Steward collects rents, notes obligations, counts measures of grain. Yet at the same time, villagers mingle, exchange stories, laugh together. Children chase each other among the stalls, eyes wide at bright cloth or sugared almonds. The market is both duty and delight. A space where necessity is softened by human joy. And always, the castle looms nearby. Some gaze at it with awe. Others with quiet resentment, for the taxes could be heavy, and service in times of war was no small burden. Yet even with this tension, the castle was part of their lives. Like a mountain upon the land, undeniable, unshakable. Its bells marked hours for prayer, its guards patrolled paths, its very presence shaped the horizon. At night, the connection deepened. Imagine villagers looking from their doorways, firelight glowing behind them, as their eyes trace the outline of towers against the sky. Torches flicker upon battlements, small flames guarding the dark. The people breathe easier knowing watchmen stand through the night, that danger would not come unnoticed. In their cottages, they sleep to the distant hum of bells, the muffled sound of horns, the soft comfort of protection felt but unseen. The castle and the village, then, were not separate worlds, but one. Stone and soil, wall and field, lord and peasant. All threads of a single fabric. The villagers' labor gave the castle strength. The castle's strength gave the villagers peace. Though unequal, though sometimes heavy with burden, the bond endured, century upon century, shaping landscapes, shaping lives. Breathe now, gently. Imagine yourself walking along those fields, the earth soft beneath your feet, the smell of cut hay rising sweet in the air. See the castle beyond, not as a weight, but as a guardian. Feel the quiet rhythm of villagers' work, the slow flow of seasons, the way every action seems to settle into harmony with the land. As you exhale, let that same rhythm settle into you. Slow, steady, eternal. Like the turning of the mill wheel, like the tolling of a distant bell. For here, in the villages beyond the walls, life was humble yet enduring. Shaped not by grandeur, but by continuity. And it is within that continuity, those ordinary days, those steady labors, that we too can find calm. The reminder that even in the shadow of stone, the simplest rhythms of human life carried on, soft, unbroken, eternal. Within the castle's walls, amid stone chambers and echoing halls, lived the lords and ladies. Figures of rank, of lineage, of responsibility. Their lives were not only of splendor, but of duty. Woven into the fabric of land, law, and tradition. To imagine them rightly is not to think only of crowns and silks, but of the slow, deliberate rhythm of leadership and the weight of expectation. Picture the Lord first. Rising at dawn, his chamber lit by a narrow slit of sunlight. A servant helps him dress, fastening a belt, pulling a tunic of fine wool across his shoulders, setting a mantle trimmed with fur when the season is cold. His sword rests nearby, not always drawn, yet always present, a symbol of his role as protector. In the quiet, he may pause to pray, whispering words into still air, his breath a cloud in winter mornings. His duties carry him through the day. In the great hall, he listens to petitions. Villagers seeking justice, disputes over land, questions of rights and obligations. His voice must be steady, his judgment measured, for in his word rests authority. At times, he rides out across the fields, visiting the villages under his care. The sight of him, tall upon a horse, cloak flowing behind, reminds all who see that the castle is not only stone, it is embodied in him. The lady, too, holds her own sphere of presence. She oversees the household, ensuring that food is stored, clothing is spun, servants are directed. Her hands may touch fine cloth, embroidery threaded with gold, yet they also touch loaves of bread, herbs for healing, children in need of comfort. She moves through chambers with quiet grace, her voice gentle yet firm, her presence both nurturing and commanding. Together, Lord and Lady embody the castle's spirit. In feasts, they sit at the high table, presiding over laughter, music, abundance. In solemn times, they kneel together in the chapel, their heads bowed, their prayers echoing in stone. Their children grow around them, learning to read, to ride, to carry themselves with the dignity expected of lineage. Tutors guide them, chaplains instruct them, and yet their childhood laughter still spills through corridors, reminding all that even within halls of duty, life is tender. Ceremonies mark their days. When guests arrive, the lady welcomes them with courtesy, offering warmth and hospitality. The Lord honors them with gifts, with promises, with alliances woven through words and gestures. Dinners might glow with candlelight, golden goblets shining, platters heavy with roasted meat. Minstrels sing, dancers move, torches flare against banners overhead. Yet beneath the grandeur lies a quieter truth, that every display, every gesture, is also a thread in the web of power. A way to show strength, to maintain bonds, to remind all present that the castle and its household stand firm. But even lords and ladies sought peace. Imagine the lady walking alone in the castle garden, her fingers brushing lavender and rosemary, the fragrance calming her thoughts. Imagine the lord seated by the fire in winter, his face softened by its glow, speaking gently with his steward, listening not as a ruler but as a man. Their lives, though framed by duty, still held moments of tenderness, of stillness, of ordinary rest. The burdens they carried were heavy. War might call the lord to ride with armored men, his life at risk for the sake of land and loyalty. Famine might test the lady, as she tried to stretch food stores, comfort the anxious, keep hope alive. Together they bore responsibility not only for themselves, but for all who lived beneath their roof, within their lands, beyond their walls. And yet, through centuries, through countless seasons, lords and ladies gave shape to the castle's soul. Their voices filled the hall, their footsteps echoed on stairways, their choices lingered in memory long after their lives had passed. Close your eyes now. Breathe slowly. Imagine standing in the great hall as candles flicker upon the faces of a noble household. Hear the murmur of voices, the low sound of prayers, the distant laughter of children playing beyond the chamber. Feel the weight of velvet, the sheen of silver, the warmth of fire. But more than that, feel the stillness beneath it all. The reminder that even among lords and ladies, beneath the symbols of power, there was humanity. Steady, enduring, quietly tender. And as you drift with this thought, let your breath deepen. As if you too are seated in the warmth of that fire, safe within those walls, steady within that presence. Behind every banquet in the hall, behind every polished goblet, every garment stitched with care, behind every chamber swept clean and every fire kept alive, were the hands of servants. They were the breath of the castle's daily life, working not for glory or honor, but for necessity, for survival, for the unbroken rhythm of each passing day. Imagine the dawn within the castle walls. Before the lord stirs, before the lady rises, before children yawn awake, servants are already moving. Fires must be coaxed from embers. Coals stirred, kindling placed, flames nurtured into warmth. The halls are swept, ashes gathered, rushes replaced upon the floors. Water is fetched from the well, carried in heavy buckets that clink and slosh with each step along the stone. By the time the household wakes, the castle is already alive. Warmed, cleaned, ready. Some servants remain near the kitchens. The cooks, their sleeves rolled, their hands red with heat, chop and stir and bake. Scullions scrub pots blackened with soot, their shoulders aching, their arms wet with grease. Bread is kneaded in rhythm, shaped into loaves, left to rise by the hearth's steady glow. Meat turns upon spits, juices dripping into pans below, the air rich with scent. These labors are endless, yet without them, the hall would fall silent, the people would go hungry. Others tend to the stables. Horses must be fed, brushed, their stalls cleared of straw and dung. Harnesses are mended, hooves examined, saddles prepared. The grooms move quietly among the animals, their touch gentle, their voices soft. For in war, in travel, in ceremony, the strength of the household depends on these creatures, and so the care of them is sacred, constant. There are laundresses too. Bent over basins, sleeves soaked, fingers wrinkled with water. They scrub linen against rough boards, rinse it in cold streams, hang it to dry upon lines stretched in the sun. The scent of soap and wet cloth fills the air. Their work is heavy, often unseen, yet when the lord and lady don garments fresh and white, when beds smell of lavender and straw, it is the laundress's labor that whispers quietly beneath. Some servants are close to the noble family, their duties more intimate. Chambermaids who light candles in darkened rooms, who sweep floors smooth, who lay blankets thick upon winter nights. Stewards who keep records of accounts, marking carefully each bushel of grain, each jar of honey, each measure of wine. Messengers who ride swiftly with tidings, carrying words that could shift alliances or summon aid. These roles require trust. For proximity to power brings both privilege and peril. Children too played their part. Pages, often boys of noble birth placed in service, learned through tasks, fetching wine, bearing messages, standing at their lord's side. They studied courtesy, learned to ride, to read, to serve with grace. Girls might learn through service as well, sewing, tending, assisting the lady of the house. Through service, futures were shaped. Some rising, some remaining, but all woven into the rhythm of work. It was not an easy life. Hours were long, bodies often weary, winters biting with cold, summers heavy with sweat. Yet amid labor, there was also companionship. Servants shared laughter in kitchens, songs at work, whispered stories in the still of night. They found joy in small moments, a loaf baked golden, a horse well groomed, a fire burning steadily. These bonds softened the weight of labor, making each day bearable. Step gently now through their world. Hear the scrape of broom upon stone, the clink of buckets, the rhythm of hammers in the smithy, the steady hush of spinning wheels. Smell bread baking, hay warming in stables, soap foaming in laundries. See faces lined with effort, yet softened by smiles shared in passing. This was the life that kept the castle alive. Unglamorous, uncelebrated, but essential. And when night came, servants too sought rest. Some slept in straw pallets tucked against walls, others in chambers close to their work. They closed their eyes to the muffled sounds of the castle, the last crackle of fire, the low whisper of wind through arrow slits, the distant tread of a watchman's boots. For a few hours, their bodies eased, their breaths slowed, their dreams carried them gently beyond the weight of stone. Breathe with them now. Slowly, gently. Imagine the heaviness of labor leaving your body, as though you too are laying down after a long day of service. Feel the comfort of straw beneath you, simple yet soft, the warmth of a blanket drawn near. Let the rhythm of their work become the rhythm of your rest. Steady, grounding, eternal. For the servants remind us that even in places of grandeur, it is humble labor that sustains life. The grandest hall is only as warm as the fire tended by unseen hands. The richest feast only as rich as the meal prepared in kitchens below. The Lord's authority, the lady's grace, the castle's very survival, each rests upon the quiet strength of those who worked, unseen, unceasing. And so, as you drift tonight, remember them. Their footsteps soft in corridors, their voices quiet in kitchens, their hands steady at tasks unending. For they, more than stone or steel, were the true heartbeat of the castle. Not every day within the castle was toil and duty. Sometimes, the walls brightened with laughter, music, and light. Feasts and festivals brought color into stone halls, weaving moments of joy into lives otherwise heavy with labor. These occasions, rare though they might be, shimmered like jewels in memory, something to anticipate, something to recall with warmth on long winter nights. Imagine the preparation first. Days before a feast, the castle stirred with activity. In the kitchens, fires burned from dawn to dusk. Spits turning with meat, ovens glowing with bread, cauldrons bubbling with stews rich and spiced. Servants hurried with baskets of apples, barrels of ale, wheels of cheese, jars of honey. Herbs were crushed for sauces, dough was rolled and folded into pies, fish salted and baked, sweetmeats dusted with sugar. The air thickened with scent, roast and spice, smoke and sweetness, mingling into a promise of abundance. In the great hall, tables were set. Long boards polished, benches drawn near, candles prepared to glow in high holders. Banners were hung upon the walls, bright cloth stitched with crests, fluttering softly in the air. Flowers might be gathered from gardens, garlands strung, the hall transformed into something more than stone. Into a place of celebration. When the day arrived, the hall filled. The lord and lady took their seats at the high table, their children beside them, guests of honor near. Below, rows of benches stretched wide, welcoming knights, retainers, villagers of rank. Servants moved steadily, bearing platters heavy with roasted game, trenchers of bread, bowls of broth. Jugs of ale and wine passed from hand to hand, filling cups that were lifted high in cheer. Music rose into the air. Minstrels played lutes and harps, flutes and drums, their melodies curling into rafters. Singers' voices soared with tales of ancient heroes, saints, and battles won. Jugglers tossed bright balls, tumblers bent and spun, fools in motley drew laughter with jests both clever and foolish. The hall, so often solemn, rang now with delight. And outside the castle, festivals echoed the joy. In the villages, fairs spread through lanes and fields. Stalls brimmed with cloth, spices, trinkets, tools. Children darted between, clutching sweet cakes or chasing ribbons. Dancers spun in circles, their feet drumming earth, their hands joined in joy. Bonfires blazed, sparks rising into twilight, faces glowing as voices sang in chorus. These were moments when even the simplest life felt lifted, as though touched by wonder. Feasts marked more than merriment, they carried meaning. They honored holy days, saints, harvests, victories in battle, births of heirs, marriages that bound families, treaties that sealed peace. Each gathering was both joy and symbol. A way to remind all present of shared ties, of loyalty, of the bonds that held castle, village, and land together. Yet amid the grandeur, there was intimacy too. Imagine a child, eyes wide, marveling at a minstrel's tale. Or a servant, sneaking a taste of sugared almond. Or two villagers, smiling shyly across a bonfire, their hands brushing as sparks danced above. The festival's greatness lay not only in spectacle, but in the small, human moments that glowed within it. And when the feast ended, the joy lingered. In the hall, candles burned low, music softened, and laughter became murmurs. Guests drifted to chambers, servants cleared platters, the fire in the hearth glowed dim. In villages, The last embers of bonfires glowed in fields, their warmth fading into night, leaving memories to warm hearts long after. Pause now. Breathe slowly. Imagine yourself seated at that long table, a cup warm in your hands, the sound of music around you, the air alive with voices. Or picture yourself by the village fire, sparks rising into a deep sky, laughter mingling with song. Let these images soften you. Let them remind you of joy, of togetherness, of celebration that weaves light even into stone. For the castle was not only defense, not only duty, it was also a place where life could shine, where hearts could lift, where music and laughter echoed through time. Even as castles nurtured life, even as halls rang with laughter and kitchens glowed with warmth, they were also built for another purpose. The quiet, enduring purpose of defense. When danger arose, when raiders approached or rival lords rode forth, the castle's stones, walls, and towers took on a new rhythm. One of vigilance, strategy, and patience. Imagine a village waking to the sound of horn calls. Not for feast, but for warning. From the fields, the laborious lift their eyes to the horizon, where dust may rise, where banners may wave, where the distant clatter of hooves might carry the threat of conflict. Within the castle, the watchmen climb staircases, their hands steady upon cold stone, eyes scanning every tree, every path, every shadow. Arrow slits frame the view, narrowing the world into a ribbon of detail, each movement scrutinized. The gates are drawn, the portcullis lowered, the drawbridge lifted. Moats shimmer under sky, reflecting the strength of walls that now serve as shield as much as home. Towers stand vigilant, every stone a sentinel, every battlement a reminder that those within are ready, and that those without may not pass easily. Inside, the household shifts. The lord dons armor, polished and gleaming, a weight both of metal and of responsibility. Knights gather, checking weapons, adjusting mail, whispering plans that move silently through corridors. Even servants play their roles, buckets of water at the ready, fires monitored, gates prepared for swift action. Every routine of daily life bends slightly to the rhythm of alertness, of readiness, without panic, without haste. The castle's defenses are not merely strength in stone, but ingenuity in design. High walls repel ladders, narrow staircases favor defenders, arrow slits offer protection while allowing action. Catapults, mangonels, and boiling oil could become instruments of quiet terror, held in readiness, their presence a deterrent more than a tool. Imagine the tension of this stillness. The weight of potential energy, held in stone and iron, the patience that stretches hours into silence. And yet, war was often a matter of endurance, of time rather than sudden battle. Sieges could last weeks, months, even years. Within the walls, villagers and soldiers alike relied upon stores of grain, barrels of water, and the careful rationing of food. Fires burned to sustain warmth and light, every spark precious, every ember monitored. Life slowed into a rhythm dictated by vigilance. Each day measured in careful steps, each night in watchful quiet. Outside, attackers might dig trenches, batter gates, or attempt to scale walls. From above, defenders move with calm precision. Arrows loosed in arcs, stones dropped from heights, ropes and pulleys pulling the weight of readiness into action. The clash of metal is muted by distance, the sound filtered through the thickness of walls. Even in the midst of danger, there is a certain order. A choreography of survival, of strategy, of measured response. Imagine standing atop a tower during such a siege. Wind brushes your face, carrying scents of smoke and damp earth. The land stretches wide, open and uncertain, yet within this vantage, all is seen, all is known. The horizon may hold threat, but the stone beneath your feet is steadfast. The walls have endured decades, centuries, and now they hold fast again, a bridge between life and danger. And yet, not all moments of war are violent. The quiet waits, the tension stretches, the castle hums with readiness. In chambers, families huddle, stories whispered, prayers murmured. Children learn patience and endurance, hearing the distant echo of hoofbeats and clanging tools, understanding the gravity without panic. The lords and ladies measure their words, their actions, aware that every gesture matters in times of stress. Breathe slowly now. Imagine yourself leaning against a battlement, feeling the cold stone beneath your hands. The wind brushes softly, the distant forest stirs, and you know that vigilance does not require frenzy. You can observe, endure, prepare, and still find calm within the structure that has withstood so much. War shaped castles as much as life within them. It dictated their walls, their moats, their towers, their slits and staircases. Yet it also shaped the people inside, teaching patience, endurance, careful thought, quiet courage. And when the day is done, when horns fade, when attackers retreat, when walls are still, the castle exhales, returning once more to sanctuary, to hearth, to laughter, to song. Let yourself rest with this thought, that even in the midst of potential chaos, there can be calm. Even when stones are weapons, even when towers are sentinels, there is steadiness, there is protection, there is the quiet assurance that life continues, and that you are safe within walls both real and imagined. Within the sturdy walls of stone, beyond the bustle of kitchens, the clatter of gates, and the rhythm of daily labor, there lies a quieter space. The castle chapel. Small or large, humble or adorned, it is a sanctuary of stillness, a place where breath slows and thought softens, where the presence of the divine meets the solidity of stone. Step lightly across the threshold. Hear the subtle echo of footsteps upon cold flagstones. Smell the faint scent of candle wax and incense drifting through the air. Light filters through small windows, stained or plain, painting colors upon walls and floor, brushing the eyes with gentle glow. The chapel is quiet yet alive. Alive with whispers of prayer, with the hush of reflection, with centuries of devotion pressed into stone. Here, the lord and lady of the castle might kneel, their heads bowed, hands clasped, lips moving in silent or spoken words. Their children might join, learning the cadence of ritual, the weight of tradition, the comfort of faith that steadies hearts. Servants enter softly, bringing candles, tending sacred objects, moving in measured rhythm so as not to disturb the hush that hangs like a gentle veil. Imagine the sound of chanting. Low, resonant, rising and falling in waves, as a chaplain leads prayers, voices echoing against vaulted ceilings. Each word carries not urgency, but calm. Each note resonates, not merely in the air, but in the bones of the building, in the hearts of those who listen. The chapel transforms stone into shelter for spirit, shaping stillness where stone alone cannot. On holy days, the space glows with ritual and ceremony. Candles line the altar, flickering with tiny breaths of flame. Incense curls into the air, fragrant and ephemeral, a visual song of devotion. Choirs may gather, their harmonies carrying through corridors to reach the ears of those beyond. Offerings are placed carefully, bread and wine, flowers and herbs, tokens of gratitude, tokens of hope. Every gesture is deliberate, imbued with reverence, with awareness that this space exists to connect the finite with the infinite. Yet the chapel is not only for grand ceremony. It holds intimate moments too. A whispered prayer before bed, a solitary reflection upon the passage of days, the gentle repetition of candle lighting in remembrance. A child may pause mid-step to kneel briefly, their tiny hands clasped, breath even and calm. A servant may rest there for a moment, closing eyes against the flickering light, allowing thoughts to settle and burdens to lift. Even in the midst of labor, of duty, of the castle's ceaseless rhythm, the chapel offers pause. A place to breathe and to feel. Imagine tracing your fingers lightly over the worn edges of pews, feeling centuries of hands pressed before yours. Notice the way stone holds memory. Of vows spoken, of grief mourned, of hope whispered into air thick with incense. Imagine looking upward, past arches and beams, at a ceiling that curves like the sky itself, and sensing the smallness of a single breath within vastness, and the comfort of connection to something greater, something enduring. Breathe slowly now. In and out, letting each inhalation fill you with calm, each exhalation release the weight of worry. Imagine candlelight dancing softly upon your eyelids. Imagine the echo of a distant hymn vibrating through the air and through your chest. Let the rhythm of prayer, of stillness, of centuries of devotion, settle within you like a warm stone held close. The chapel reminds all within the castle that strength is not only in walls and towers, not only in swords and armor, but also in quiet reflection, in mindfulness, in care of spirit. The people of the castle, whether lord, lady, knight, or servant, return here again and again, seeking pause, seeking guidance, seeking solace. Even the smallest moment of prayer ripples outward, threading through corridors, courtyards, kitchens, and halls, softening the castle's hardness, bringing gentleness into stone. And so, as you rest your mind here, imagine the hush of the chapel enfolding you. Imagine the soft flicker of candlelight, the faint scent of incense, the distant murmur of voices. You are held in this quiet space. Steady, calm, enduring. Like the stone walls around you, you can breathe and rest, knowing that within the rhythm of castle life, there is always a place for stillness, for reflection, for peace. Time flows slowly in the castle. The stones unmoving, the towers steady, yet the world beyond shifts, cycling through months, through colors, through light and shadow. The rhythm of the seasons touches every aspect of life within the walls, from kitchens to courtyards, from battlements to gardens, shaping work, ritual, and quiet reflection. Spring arrives gently. A thaw spreading over frozen earth, rivers swelling with melted snow, fields softening beneath a rising sun. Buds appear on trees, green shoots sprout from soil, and the castle gardens awaken from winter's hush. Servants tend the herb beds, planting sage, thyme, and lavender, while gardeners dig furrows for vegetables that will feed the household. Chickens scratch eagerly in warm soil, and horses shake off winter coats, stamping hooves in delight. The air carries the scent of wet earth, of growing things, of new beginnings. With spring comes preparation. Repairing roofs weakened by winter, checking the strength of gates and walls, ensuring supplies are ready. Knights take to training grounds, practicing with sword and lance beneath skies fresh with promise. The castle hums with quiet energy, a sense of renewal that threads through halls, chambers, and courtyards alike. Even the lord and lady seem to move with lightness, their eyes following the soft green creeping across fields and hills, their thoughts touched by hope. Summer arrives slowly, golden and full. The sun climbing high, warming stone walls, drying fields, filling rivers with shimmer. Within the castle, kitchens are alive with abundance. Bread bakes in warm ovens, fruits are preserved for months to come, meadows provide hay for stables. Courtyards bustle with life. Children laughing, dogs chasing, villagers carrying harvests to the gates. Bells toll for prayer, meals, work, and rest, each ringing in the long, bright hours of summer. Heat presses gently against stone. The great hall, once chilly, now glows warm. Shadows stretch lazily across corridors. Windows open to invite soft breezes, and the scent of lavender and herbs drifts inward. Knights and lords ride through sunlit lands, observing crops, fields, and forests. Even in leisure, there is rhythm, a measured pace that mirrors the sun's journey, a harmony between human life and the golden season. Autumn creeps in with softness. Cooler air, mists over fields, leaves turning fire and amber. Harvest becomes the rhythm of days. Villagers and servants gather grain, press cider, store apples, and prepare for winter's hush. The castle itself seems to adjust. Fires are stoked earlier, blankets drawn upon beds, and kitchens filled with heartier stews. The scent of smoke curls gently from chimneys, mingling with crisp leaves blown along courtyards. Autumn is reflection and preparation. Quiet steps along stone corridors, careful inspection of stores, thoughtful planning for months when snow will blanket the land. The lord may meet with advisors to consider strategy, the lady checking inventories, the children learning to assist. The castle hums with the subtle cadence of transition, teaching all within that life must bend with change, preparing now to endure later. Winter arrives slowly, softly, yet with unmistakable authority. Frost painting delicate patterns on windows, snow blanketing roofs and fields, rivers iced along their edges. The castle is colder now, yet alive with warmth of human care. Fires burn steadily in great halls and chambers, kitchens glow with roasts and stews, servants and villagers move carefully, aware of the need for warmth and sustenance. Cloaks are drawn, boots thicken, and work is paced for endurance rather than speed. Winter brings quiet. Long nights filled with candlelight and story, with prayers in the chapel, with whispered laughter and music to chase back the cold. The castle holds tight against snow and wind, walls and towers sheltering all within. Steps are softer, voices gentler, and even the rhythm of daily chores is slower, marked by the hush of frost and the shimmer of ice. And yet, the seasons are not merely cycles of labor. They are teachers of patience, of rhythm, of adaptation. Each day is different. Yet each is part of a pattern, flowing endlessly, shaping stone, shaping life, shaping thought. The castle and its people move with this quiet pulse, learning to bend without breaking, to endure with grace, to find comfort in steady repetition. Breathe now. Imagine yourself standing in the castle courtyard as snow drifts softly, or as spring sunlight warms your face, or as autumn leaves rustle underfoot, or as summer breezes brush the battlements. Feel the slow, patient rhythm of life as it moves around you, through walls and gardens, through kitchens and stables, through halls and towers. Let your breath mirror the seasons. Inhale with the renewal of spring, hold the warmth of summer, exhale with autumn's reflection, rest in winter's stillness. For in every season, the castle endures, and within its walls, life continues. Steady, rhythmic, calm, eternal. Step quietly through the corridors and towers of the castle. Feel the weight of every stone, the smoothness of arches, the rough texture of walls worn by time and hands alike. Each block, each joint, each carefully carved detail is a testament not only to strength, but to human skill, patience, and vision. Castles were not simply built, they were crafted, shaped, molded with knowledge that stretched across generations. Masons moved slowly, deliberately, their tools small yet precise. Chisels tapping against stone, hammers striking rhythmically, dust rising in soft clouds that glimmered in sunlight filtering through high windows. Every cut mattered, every placement held weight, for a single misstep could alter a wall's integrity or a tower's rise. They worked alongside apprentices, passing knowledge quietly, their hands guiding younger ones as they learned to read the grain of stone, to feel its strength and weakness. Stone was more than material. It was medium, memory, and message. Through it, walls told stories. Shields carved into battlements, symbols etched above doors, inscriptions marking dates, names, deeds. Imagine running your fingers over these surfaces, feeling the grooves made centuries ago. The same hands that shaped them long vanished, yet their presence lingering like a whisper. The castle itself becomes a living record of labor, of intention, of care. Carpenters worked in harmony with masons, shaping beams for ceilings, crafting doors and shutters, creating furniture that balanced function and grace. Every arch required support, every roof truss required precision. They measured, they carved, they fitted, and with each joint, the castle's heart became more whole. The smell of cut wood, of sawdust and resin, mingled with stone dust, a perfume of creation that lingered long after the workday ended. Blacksmiths contributed their artistry as well, forging hinges, locks, and tools, shaping iron with fire and hammer, their sparks like miniature stars dancing upon stone floors. Their work held both practical function and subtle beauty, strong yet elegant, resilient yet refined. Through these crafts, the castle became not merely fortress, but home, community, and symbol. Even decorative elements were given care. Carvings on columns, delicate tracery in windows, painted shields, intricate patterns in tiles. Each required patience, a gentle hand, and an eye for balance. These touches reminded those within that the castle was more than protection. It was an environment shaped by human imagination and reverence for craft. The work was long and often repetitive. Lifting stone, mixing mortar, shaping timber, testing iron. Yet there was rhythm in repetition, a quiet meditation in repetition, a subtle poetry in the careful placing of one piece after another. Stone after stone, beam upon beam, the castle rose slowly, gracefully, enduring. And with each addition, the builders left a part of themselves, knowledge, skill, and the quiet pride of hands that made something to outlast their own years. Walk through the corridors now. Feel the cool solidity beneath your fingertips, the arches above that hold not only roof, but centuries of effort, thought, and craft. Hear the distant echoes of hammer on chisel, of saw on timber, as if time itself whispers through the walls. Smell the faint residue of mortar, of iron, of wood, grounding the castle not in legend, but in tangible, human labor. Breathe slowly. Imagine the patience required to shape a tower that will watch over land for generations. Imagine the calm, steady hands guiding each piece into place, the quiet satisfaction of a wall standing firm, a doorway fitting perfectly, a roof arching elegantly above. Let this sense of craftsmanship settle within you. The reminder that careful, steady labor creates permanence, that dedication and attention shape not only stone, but experience, memory, and peace. And as you rest within this vision, feel the castle's strength surrounding you, not only in walls and towers, but in the human spirit woven into every corner. Let the rhythm of creation, of deliberate care, of artistry grounded in patience, echo gently within your own breath. You are cradled in skill, in beauty, in enduring craft. And, like the castle itself, you can rest, calm and secure. Beyond the heavy gates, beyond the echoing halls, the castle opens to gardens and green spaces. Patches of earth tended with care, where stone and life meet, where the rhythm of seasons is mirrored in growth, bloom, and decay. Here, the castle breathes differently. Quieter, softer, alive with the subtle movements of nature. Imagine stepping into a courtyard garden in spring. The scent of damp earth rising, mingling with the fragrance of early herbs, thyme, rosemary, sage. Buds unfurl slowly, pale green leaves stretching towards sun, blossoms timid yet persistent. Bees hum among them, a gentle rhythm, a quiet symphony of life. The air feels soft, carrying the promise of warmth, growth, and renewal. Herb gardens are practical as well as beautiful. Rows of medicinal plants, culinary herbs, and fragrant blooms arranged with purpose. Servants tend them carefully, watering each plant, weeding carefully, trimming overgrowth. The lady of the castle may wander through, fingers brushing leaves, inhaling the scent of lavender or mint, drawing calm from the order and vitality of these small plots. Herbs are dried, stored, and used in kitchens and chambers alike, connecting the garden directly to daily life. Orchards flourish where space allows. Apple, pear, and cherry trees bearing fruit to feed household and village alike. In summer, their branches bow with sweetness, leaves rustling softly in the breeze. Children play beneath, laughter mingling with the whisper of leaves, while servants gather fallen fruit or harvest ripened produce. Trees provide shade, shelter, and beauty, a natural rhythm that marks hours by shadow and sunlight. Flower gardens add color to the castle's grey stone. Beds of roses, marigolds, violets, and daisies creating gentle patterns that please the eye. Paths wind through them, stone or gravel, encouraging quiet walks, moments of reflection, and even the soft exercise of the day. Flowers are tended with patience, water and sunlight coaxing blossoms, the repetition of care grounding those who move among them. Water too finds a place. Fountains in courtyards, ponds edged with reeds and lilies, channels that carry streams gently past walls. The sound of trickling water calms the mind, softening the echoes of stone. Ducks may drift lazily, dragonflies hover, and sunlight dances upon ripples. Even a small fountain can become a focal point of meditation, a reminder of life's gentle persistence amidst the solidity of stone. Walls and trellises intertwine with climbing plants. Ivy creeping upward, roses twining along latticework. They soften harsh lines, connect earth to sky, remind all who pass that growth persists alongside permanence. Birds nest in branches, sing across walls, adding melody to the hush of leaves and water. The castle, though formidable, embraces this living softness, balancing strength with nurture. Seasons change in the gardens as they do elsewhere. Spring brings renewal, summer abundance, autumn harvest, winter rest. Leaves fall, frost kisses the soil, and bulbs sleep beneath the snow, awaiting the sun's return. Walk slowly through this cycle. Notice the subtle changes, the way sunlight shifts, shadows stretch and shorten, flowers bloom and fade. Let these observations settle within you, a rhythm mirrored in your own breath. Imagine pausing by a fountain, inhaling deeply. The cool scent of water, the faint perfume of herbs, the soft hum of bees. Let the quiet energy of life persist around you, each leaf, each flower, each ripple contributing to a gentle, unbroken harmony. Even in the midst of castle life, where stone and duty dominate, these living spaces offer calm, solace, and a reminder that softness can exist within strength. Breathe slowly. Feel the warmth of sun on stone paths, the gentle touch of wind through leaves, the hush of quiet birdsong. The gardens remind us that life is layered, that even amid walls built for defense, there is room for growth, beauty, and gentle reflection. Let the rhythm of garden life merge with your own. Inhale with the vitality of spring, exhale with the softness of shade, and rest in the enduring balance of stone and green. Even within stone walls, even beneath the watchful towers, the castle sometimes glows differently. Soft flames dancing against walls, shadows flickering, voices rising in harmony. Festivals of light and music brought rhythm and joy into the lives of all within the castle. Moments when ordinary days were suspended, replaced with wonder, laughter, and gentle celebration. Imagine twilight settling across the courtyard. Torches are lit, their flames steady yet playful, casting golden light across stone and cobbles. Candles line windows, flickering within chambers, reflecting softly upon polished shields, tapestries, and banners. The air hums with anticipation. The hush before music begins, the gentle thrill of a moment about to unfold. Minstrels take their places, their instruments gleaming under torchlight. Harps, lutes, flutes, and drums are readied, their sounds soft yet vibrant, carrying melodies that reach every corner of the castle. Each note rises, intertwines, and settles into the stone walls, as though the very architecture is holding the music, letting it resonate and linger. Voices join, low chants at first, then harmonies swelling, carrying tales of heroes, of seasons, of love, and of life itself. The people of the castle move gently with the music. Knights, lords, and ladies may sway in time. Children dart playfully across courtyards. Servants smile quietly, carrying refreshments or candles. Even in their duties, they are touched by the rhythm, reminded that work can coexist with beauty, that life can carry light within darkness, warmth within cold stone. Fountains and reflective pools catch the glow of candles and torches, multiplying light into dancing patterns upon walls and ceilings. Shadows stretch and bend, creating a world that is both familiar and magical, softening edges, breathing life into solid stone. Music and light together form a cocoon, a gentle envelope around all present, holding them in calm delight. Outside, festivals extend to gardens and courtyards. Bonfires crackle, sparks drifting into night air, laughter echoing softly. Villagers may join in, their voices mingling with the music of the castle. Dancers circle, feet brushing against cobbles, hands clasped, spinning in joy. Children chase ribbons and each other, their excitement tempered by wonder, their movements part of the larger rhythm of celebration. These festivals are not only for merriment. They mark transitions, honor sacred days, celebrate harvests, or commemorate victories and alliances. They carry meaning woven into ritual. A reminder that light can pierce darkness, that music can soothe and connect, that shared experiences bind people together across ranks, roles, and generations. The preparation is part of the meditation. Tending torches, arranging flowers, polishing instruments, stringing garlands, each action contributes to the harmony. Every detail, attended with care, ensures the festival is both beautiful and smooth, creating a space where attention can drift from worry, where hearts can soften and minds can settle. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a courtyard, candlelight reflected in your eyes, music rising around you, warmth of flames brushing your cheeks. Feel the gentle pulse of rhythm in your chest, the soft harmony threading through your breath, the sense of being part of something larger than yourself, carried by melody and glow. As night deepens, the music slows, the candles burn lower, the torches flicker, and laughter drifts into murmurs. The festival's energy lingers, a quiet residue of joy, light, and connection. Even when all is still, the castle holds memory of sound and flame, a reminder that life contains both steadfastness and celebration, stone and softness, vigilance and delight. Breathe slowly. Let the warmth of torches, the resonance of music, the hush of twilight fill you. Imagine the echoes of laughter and harmony threading into your own calm, a gentle rhythm you carry into sleep. For within the castle's walls, festivals remind us that even amid strength and duty, there is always space for light, for music, for quiet wonder. Winter comes slowly, softly, over the hills and fields surrounding the castle. Frost painting delicate patterns upon windows, snow blanketing roofs and courtyards, wind whispering through battlements. Life within the castle shifts with the season, moving more quietly, more deliberately, attuned to the cold and the need for warmth, for light, for care. Step into the great hall as evening falls. The hearth glows with steady fire, flames licking logs with gentle crackle and warmth. Smoke drifts upward, carried through chimneys, mingling with the scent of burning wood, herbs, and the faint spice of preserved foods. Around the fire, people gather slowly, hands warming, bodies relaxing after long hours of careful work. Even stone walls seem softer, glowing in the amber light. Servants tend the hearth, replenishing logs, adjusting embers, ensuring that every chamber and corridor carries some warmth. The kitchen hums with activity. Slow cooking of stews, simmering of porridge, baking of bread, preservation of vegetables for longer months. The smell drifts along corridors, seeping into chambers, offering comfort and sustenance, reminding all that survival and comfort can coexist. Children huddle near firelight, their faces illuminated by soft flicker, listening to stories told in low voices, tales of heroes, of cleverness, of laughter and bravery. The lord and lady of the castle may move among them, checking blankets, adjusting fires, offering warmth and calm. In these quiet interactions, the castle's human side emerges. Care, attention, gentle authority balanced with tenderness. Outside, snow muffles sounds, softening the castle's edges, cloaking courtyards in quiet. Steps across cobblestones leave crisp impressions, doors creak softly with wind, and the echo of distant animals drifts in. Guards patrol vigilantly, yet even their movements are tempered by season, slowed and deliberate, eyes sharp but mindful of the cold. Life continues, yet with a hush, a rhythm dictated by the season's demands. Winter also brings reflection. Long nights allow time for contemplation, for quiet conversation, for reading, for prayer in the castle chapel. Candles burn longer, shadows stretch, and the hush encourages stillness. The people within the walls learn patience, endurance, and subtle grace. Understanding that even the cold and dark carry beauty, that warmth and light, when found, are treasured all the more. Even leisure takes on a softer form. Games by firelight, simple music played on lutes or flutes, whispered conversations in corridors or chambers, moments of knitting, sewing, or carving. Each activity carries a gentle rhythm, a way to mark time, to hold together the flow of life through long nights and frozen days. In this season, movement slows, thought deepens, senses sharpen, and awareness of the present becomes intimate and profound. Imagine walking slowly along a snow-dusted corridor. Breath visible in the cold air, footsteps echoing softly, hands brushing against the warmth of walls, candlelight guiding your path. Pause near the hearth in the great hall. Feel the heat on your skin, the scent of burning wood, the hum of life around you. Let the soft glow, the crackling fire, the hush of winter settle within your own rhythm. Slowing heart and mind alike. Winter teaches endurance, patience, and quiet joy. It softens the castle's hardness, emphasizes care, and highlights connection. Stone provides shelter, fire provides warmth, people provide companionship, and together they create a world that is secure, calm, and alive even in frost and shadow. Breathe slowly now. Inhale with the warmth of the hearth, exhale with the hush of snow outside. Imagine the castle embracing you, holding you in safety and calm. Let the rhythm of winter life settle within you, steady, gentle, enduring. Here, amid cold and stone, there is warmth, there is care, there is rest. And you, too, may drift into calm, carried by the steady pulse of hearth and home. Every castle carries more than stone and timber. More than walls, towers, and hearths. It carries stories, whispered in corridors, told by firelight, murmured by generations long past. These tales move like shadows across battlements, curling through staircases, soft and steady, shaping memory as much as stone shapes space. Imagine entering a quiet chamber. The air warm from a nearby hearth, the floor smooth underfoot, tapestries muted in the flicker of candlelight. Here, a storyteller speaks softly, weaving a tale of heroes and villains, of battles fought and alliances honored, of cleverness rewarded and folly punished. Each word floats slowly, curling into the attentive silence, landing gently upon listeners' minds, stirring imagination without haste. Some stories recall the deeds of lords and ladies. Moments of courage or wisdom, of generosity or prudence. A lord riding through misted fields, discovering a lost child, or negotiating a peace between feuding neighbors. A lady tending herbs and healing the sick, her quiet knowledge saving lives during harsh winters or disease-laden summers. These tales carry not only entertainment, but subtle lessons, the values and virtues that shaped life within stone walls. Other legends are older, woven from the mist of centuries. They speak of knights who vanished into forests, their armor glinting under moonlight, or of hidden passages beneath stone, known only to a few. Some whisper of treasures buried deep within castle walls, long lost, waiting for discovery. Others speak of spirits, kind, watchful, or mischievous, whose presence lingers in echoing halls, reminding all that memory is layered, that time bends, and that stories endure beyond mortality. Even the smallest of tales carries weight. A child recounts a funny mishap in the courtyard, a servant remembers a clever trick used to lighten labor, a minstrel sings a ballad that has traveled generations. Together, these narratives form a tapestry, a rhythm that binds the castle's inhabitants, reminding them of shared history, shared humor, shared humanity. Stories are often intertwined with sound and movement. The crackle of fire punctuating suspense, the hush of night lending weight to secrets, footsteps echoing like drumbeats to mark tension. Candles flicker as images are painted in the mind, shadows stretching across walls like part of the tale itself. Even silence is a character, holding space for imagination to bloom, for hearts to catch in gentle anticipation, for wonder to settle quietly into minds and memories. Many legends emerge from the land surrounding the castle. Tales of hidden springs, enchanted forests, and mysterious hills reach into stone halls, connecting those within with the wider world outside. Travelers bring new stories from distant villages, tales of harvest, of storms survived, of battles far away, adding threads to the castle's tapestry, reminding all who dwell within that life continues beyond walls, and yet resonates within them. Imagine sitting quietly, firelight casting warmth over your face, listening to a tale that has passed through centuries. Feel the weight of history balanced by the lightness of imagination. Let your mind wander with the story, drifting slowly over stone floors, climbing towers in thought, walking unseen along battlements. Sense the hum of life beneath and around you, the echoes of voices long past, and the soft pulse of memory interwoven with imagination. Some legends are cautionary. Tales meant to guide behavior, to teach patience, prudence, respect, and loyalty. Others are celebratory, filled with humor, cleverness, triumph, and ingenuity. They serve as gentle mirrors for those who hear them, reflecting both virtues and foibles, offering insight without judgment, guiding quietly rather than commanding. And in the quietest moments, when candlelight softens to glow, when the fire's crackle is the only sound, when the castle seems to hold its breath, you may sense the presence of all these stories. Lingering in walls, in staircases, in archways, waiting to be discovered anew. Each tale, each legend, is a layer of life, a pulse of memory, a gift of imagination, and a reminder that time within the castle is not measured only by seasons or battles, but by the enduring rhythm of narrative, connection, and wonder. Breathe slowly. Let the cadence of stories settle into your mind. Imagine the whisper of distant voices, the flicker of candlelight illuminating ancient halls, the hush of corridors as history and imagination entwine. Let the tales carry you gently, teaching patience, sparking reflection, and soothing your thoughts into calm, gentle rest. Within the castle, stories endure, and within your mind, they may unfold quietly, carrying you into the gentle dreamlike spaces between wakefulness and sleep. Castles are often imagined as solid, immovable fortresses. Walls rising high, gates strong and unyielding. And yet, within that apparent permanence lies subtlety, clever design, and quiet ingenuity. Every stone can hold purpose beyond strength, every corridor may hide secrets, every stair may lead to both safety and surprise. Step softly through the great hall. Imagine your eyes drawn upward, tracing arrow slits in thick walls, noticing the portcullis and hinges, imagining the weight of iron when dropped in defense. Guards patrol with quiet precision, their eyes alert, ears attuned to the slightest shift of shadow or sound. Security is never loud. It is rhythm, it is presence, it is preparation. Secret passages thread through walls and beneath floors, silent and hidden. Some are simple. Narrow staircases leading to battlements, tunnels allowing unseen travel from one tower to another. Others are more complex. Hidden doors behind tapestries, false walls concealing chambers, winding corridors that confound intruders and protect the inhabitants. These spaces are known only to a few, their entrance is subtle, their courses twisting like whispers of stone. Imagine stepping lightly into one of these passages. The air cooler, the light dim, the sound of footsteps muted by stone. Walls close around you, yet they do not feel oppressive. They feel protective, a secret held close, a rhythm of quiet steps echoing softly. The passage curves, twists, sometimes opening to a small chamber, sometimes leading upward to a tower or downward to a dungeon. Every turn is deliberate, every space measured for both concealment and use. Locks, bolts, and traps add another layer of quiet vigilance. Heavy doors reinforced with iron, bolts sliding smoothly yet firmly into place, mechanisms that can secure rooms in seconds. All crafted to keep danger at bay without alarm. Even simple features, such as narrow staircases spiraling clockwise, favor defenders, giving advantage to those who know the castle intimately. These details are subtle, often unnoticed, yet they shape every movement, every breath, every step within the fortress. The castle's design teaches patience and observation. Guards learn every creak, every shadow, every flicker of light. Knights memorize corridors, staircases, and hidden exits. Servants move with awareness, understanding the rhythm of protection without fear. Knowledge of space becomes as vital as skill with sword or bow. A quiet mastery that balances power and calm. Even the most mundane spaces may conceal secrets. A cupboard may hide a narrow stair, a false panel may reveal a retreat, a fireplace may disguise an exit. Imagine brushing your hand over the smooth wood of a wardrobe, feeling the faint depression of a hidden latch, and sensing the possibility of unseen corridors. The castle itself seems alive, breathing protection, moving silently through stone, iron, and wood. Security is not only external, it is internal. Trust must be measured, alliances understood, every role carefully observed. The strength of walls alone cannot protect. The awareness, skill, and vigilance of those within are equally vital. The castle thrives on subtlety, on quiet action, preparation, and constant mindfulness. Imagine standing atop a tower at night. Wind brushing your face, moonlight tracing battlements, eyes scanning the horizon. You sense both openness and protection, danger tempered by preparation, vigilance by design. Every stone beneath your hands has been placed with care, every passage hidden with purpose, every lock and latch designed to ensure calm amidst uncertainty. Breathe slowly. Let the quiet ingenuity of these spaces settle within you. Imagine moving through secret corridors, feeling the cool stone, hearing only your own breath, sensing safety in design and forethought. Security is not always loud or visible. Sometimes it is the softest, most patient presence, a shield woven from knowledge, care, and subtlety. As you rest within this vision, allow the rhythm of hidden passages, careful locks, and quiet vigilance to echo in your mind. A gentle reminder that preparation, thought, and awareness bring peace, even in uncertain times. The castle, enduring and clever, cradles all within it, and so can you. Calm, steady, protected, and ready to drift into restful sleep. Within the castle walls, the nobility moved through life with a rhythm both deliberate and layered. Their days structured by responsibility, ceremony, and quiet contemplation. Their presence shaped the castle, yet they themselves were shaped by the seasons, the walls, and the pulse of life around them. Mornings often began softly. Sunlight brushing through high windows, illuminating tapestries, stone, and timber in warm hues. The Lord might rise early, quietly moving through chambers, checking accounts, attending to letters, and meeting with trusted advisors. His thoughts are measured, anticipating the needs of land, people, and household, balancing duty with care, decisions with foresight. The lady of the castle follows her own rhythm, overseeing the household, guiding servants, tending to stores and provisions, instructing children in manners, literacy, and history. She moves with grace, yet with authority. Each step deliberate, each word considered, shaping life within the walls as carefully as stone shapes towers. Her influence is subtle yet enduring, touching kitchens, chambers, gardens, and hearts alike. Children of nobility are both learners and observers. They wander corridors under gentle watch, their small hands brushing tapestries, tracing the cool surface of stone, eyes wide with curiosity. They absorb lessons of responsibility, courtesy, and history, witnessing ritual and ceremony, listening to stories of past deeds, feeling the weight of legacy without pressure, guided instead by quiet example. Meals form their own rhythm within noble life. Breakfast simple yet thoughtful, often taken privately or with close household members. Lunch and supper gather more people, trays of bread, cheese, roasted meats, and delicate pastries appearing, steaming bowls of stew filling the air with scent. Conversation flows with gentleness, laughter mingling with discussion, stories passing from lips to ears like soft music. Every act, even dining, is ritualized, grounding the day, offering structure and calm. Much of the day is spent in learning, governance, and oversight. The Lord reviewing accounts, planning strategies for land and alliances, considering the well-being of peasants and vassals. The lady may instruct, negotiate, and organize. Every decision, every observation, every gesture ripples outward, influencing lives within and beyond the castle. Yet even amid weighty responsibilities, there is calm, a measured patience, a rhythm to be felt, a deliberate pacing that tempers urgency with care. Nobility also seeks quiet reflection. In the chapel, they kneel in prayer, letting breath slow, thoughts settle, and hearts find guidance. In gardens, they wander, observing growth, inhaling scents, feeling sun and wind upon face and hands. Music may drift through chambers, soft notes of lute or harp accompanying gentle conversation, softening minds, lifting spirits, weaving art into daily life. Festivals, seasons, and daily routines shape their lives. From spring planting to autumn harvest, from winter hearth to summer gatherings, each moment is threaded with purpose and observation. Nobility exists not in isolation, but in constant engagement, with people, with land, with tradition, with craft, and with the subtle pulse of the castle itself. Imagine sitting quietly in a high window, watching sunlight scatter over courtyard, garden, and distant hills. Feeling the pulse of life, measured yet gentle, flowing through stone walls, corridors, and chambers. Hear the muffled sounds of servants, the soft echoes of children at play, the distant hum of music or prayer. Sense the calm dignity of responsibility carried with patience, and the quiet joy that emerges from measured care. Breathe slowly. Let the weight of legacy soften, the rhythm of daily life settle within, the gentle balance of authority and reflection soothe your mind. Nobility's lives were shaped by duty, yes, but also by quiet observation, by attentiveness to small details, by understanding that steadiness, care, and thoughtfulness are the true markers of enduring presence. Within these walls, amidst stone, gardens, hearths, and hallways, the lords and ladies, children and advisors, find a rhythm that sustains them. Steady, gentle, and mindful. Let your own breath match this calm pulse, inhaling with awareness, exhaling with relaxation, feeling connection to both history and the gentle cadence of life as it unfolded in these ancient stones. Imagine standing on a high tower, looking out across the lands that the castle has watched over for centuries. Rolling hills, forests stretching to the horizon, rivers glinting softly in sunlight or moonlight, fields shaped by generations of careful hands. The castle stands steadfast beneath you, stone and timber interwoven with stories, life, and quiet endurance. What if we could step back, for a moment, from the rhythms of the day, from the bustle of kitchens, corridors, and battlements? What if we allowed ourselves to drift through centuries, to touch the lives, the memories, the whispers held within these walls? Take a deep, gentle breath. Inhale slowly, imagining the cool morning air brushing your face, carrying with it the scent of earth, wood, and distant forests. Exhale, letting the weight of your day fall away, melting into stone and sky, absorbed by the calm rhythm of castle life. Here, in this moment, all parts of the castle converge. The walls, enduring and strong, offering protection. The gardens, vibrant and soft, offering calm. The chapel, serene and sacred, offering reflection. The hearth, warm and steady, offering comfort. The stories, legends, and memories, offering connection. Every stone, every path, every whisper of wind carries meaning, weaving together a tapestry of human experience that has endured through seasons, generations, and centuries. Consider the people who once moved through these spaces. Lords and ladies tending responsibilities, children learning, servants carrying out tasks with care, knights walking corridors with discipline and vigilance. Imagine the quiet moments, the laughter, the music, the prayers, the festivals. Every heartbeat part of a slow, gentle rhythm, sustaining life, offering continuity, and creating a sense of belonging. Seasons shift endlessly around the castle, and yet within its walls, life maintains a steady pulse. Spring brings renewal, summer abundance, autumn reflection, winter rest. Each season is mirrored in human rhythm. Work and leisure, preparation and celebration, vigilance and pause. Even as time moves forward, the castle holds a calm center, a steady heart that watches, protects, and nurtures all within. Now, let your imagination drift through corridors and chambers once more. Feel the cool stone beneath your hands, the warmth of the hearth, the soft fragrance of herbs in the garden, the gentle glow of candlelight in the chapel. Hear the distant hum of activity, softened by stone walls, the gentle echoes of music and laughter, the hush of quiet contemplation. Let these sounds blend with the natural rhythm of your own breath, steady and slow, deep and calm. Even in moments of tension, of vigilance, of work and responsibility, there is patience, care, and quiet endurance. The castle teaches this. That strength need not be harsh, that vigilance can coexist with gentleness, that life's rhythm is best observed with attention and mindfulness. Each step, each gesture, each act contributes to continuity, to stability, to calm. And now, as night descends over your imagined castle, the torches flicker, the last notes of music fade, the fire in the hearth softens, and the world outside grows still. Stars emerge in the sky, moonlight glimmers on battlements and roofs, and a hush settles over the land. Within this hush, within the stone, within the gardens, within every corridor and tower, life breathes quietly, gently, enduring. Let your mind settle into this vision. You are surrounded by calm, protected by stone, warmed by hearth, soothed by garden, guided by stories, held by human care and attention. Each breath you take carries you deeper into stillness. Each exhale releases tension. Each heartbeat becomes part of a gentle rhythm stretching across centuries. Remember that the castle, though ancient and enduring, is also alive with memory and presence. A reminder that patience, care, and quiet reflection create permanence and peace. Imagine these lessons threading through your own thoughts, your own life, your own breath. Let them rest within you like the soft weight of stone beneath your hands, like the gentle glow of candlelight, like the enduring pulse of life itself. Breathe slowly, deeply. In and out, letting every inhalation bring calm, every exhalation release worry. Imagine drifting through empty corridors, past silent rooms, across moonlit courtyards, through fragrant gardens, and finally to the tower where you began. The castle watches over you, steady, patient, enduring, while you rest, calm and safe. And now, let your mind wander gently into sleep. Guided by the rhythm of life within stone and timber, softened by seasons, warmed by hearths, enriched by stories, and connected to every living presence that has moved through these spaces. Let the castle cradle your thoughts, your breath, your dreams, carrying you softly into night. Here, in this quiet reflection, all is calm, all is safe, all is steady. And you may rest, fully, gently, completely, embraced by the timeless pulse of the castle and the enduring rhythm of life within it.